The 6-year water heater and the 12-year water heater are the same tank, same steel, same lining, same everything. The 12-year model costs $150 more, and the only thing you're paying for is a thicker version of a $25 rod screwed into the top. That's it. That's the difference. And if you replace that rod yourself every few years, the 6-year heater lasts as long as the 12. Nobody tells you this. Let's find out why. I've replaced a lot of water heaters, 47 units in that building I ran, and every one of them died the same way, a puddle on the floor and a phone call at 6 in the morning. What I didn't understand for the first 10 years of doing this is that almost none of them had to die. Here's what's happening inside the tank right now. Your water heater is a steel drum with a thin glass lining sprayed on the inside. That lining is the only thing standing between hot water and bare metal. And glass lining cracks. Not might crack, does crack, always, from thermal expansion and from the tank flexing every time it heats and cools. Once it cracks, the water finds steel. So the manufacturer puts in a second line of defense, a long rod of magnesium or aluminum hanging down the middle of the tank. That rod is more chemically reactive than steel, which means that when corrosion goes looking for something to eat, it eats the rod first. Every bit of rust that would have attacked your tank attacks that rod instead. They call it a sacrificial anode. The name is not a metaphor. The rod's entire job is to die so the tank doesn't. And here's the part that matters. It works perfectly right up until the rod is gone. Then the corrosion has nothing left to eat but your tank, and the countdown starts. Usually you've got a year or two after that, and then the floor is wet. The rod is designed to be replaced. It's a consumable part, like an oil filter or a furnace filter. It's just that nobody ever tells the homeowner it exists. Now, about that warranty thing, go look at a water heater aisle. There's a 6-year model and a 12-year model. Same brand, same capacity, and the 12 costs more. Most people assume the 12-year unit is built better. Thicker steel, better weld, something. It isn't. In most cases, it's the identical tank with a longer or heavier anode rod, and sometimes two of them. The manufacturer is selling you a warranty period, and the warranty period is set by how long the rod lasts. You are paying a $150 premium for $25 of magnesium, which means if you buy the cheap one and change the rod yourself, you get the expensive one for 25 bucks. All right, here's how you check yours, and I want to be honest about the hard part before we start, because the hard part is real. First, figure out what you've got. There's a plastic cap on top of the tank, usually near the back. Pop it off and you'll see a hex head, 1 inch and 1/16 across. That's the rod. Some units hide it under the sheet metal top, some run it through the hot water outlet instead, which is a different and more annoying job. Check your model number if you can't find it. Second, shut everything down. For an electric heater, flip the breaker. For a gas heater, turn the control knob to pilot and shut the gas valve. Don't skip this. Then close the cold water inlet valve on top of the tank. Third, run a hot tap somewhere in the house to break the vacuum. Then hook a garden hose to the drain valve at the bottom and let out about 2 gallons. You don't need to empty it. You just need the water level below the top so it doesn't spill when the rod comes out. That water is 140 degrees. It will burn you. Route the hose to a floor drain or outside, not into a bucket you're holding. Now the hard part. That rod has been sitting in there under heat and mineral for years, and the threads have effectively welded themselves. You will need a 1 1/16 socket, a breaker bar, or a long-handled ratchet, and probably somebody to steady the tank while you pull. I have put a 3-foot cheater pipe on a breaker bar and had a rod refuse to move. Hit the threads with penetrating oil, give it 15 minutes, and try again. And I'll say this plainly. Sometimes it doesn't come out. If you're leaning on it hard enough that the tank is rocking and the connections up top are flexing, stop. You can twist a tank fitting loose and turn a $25 job into a real problem. That's the honest limit on this one. When it does break free, pull it up slow. It's a long rod and it'll clear the ceiling only if you've got about 4 feet above the tank. If you don't, there are flexible segmented rods that bend as they go in. Get one of those before you start, not after you've discovered the problem. Now look at what you pulled out. A new rod is a smooth cylinder about 3/4 of an inch thick and 4 feet long. What comes out of a working heater looks like something dredged up from a shipwreck, pitted, flaked, chewed. If it's under 1/2 inch thick in spots, or you can see the steel core wire running down the middle, it's spent. Anything past that, and your tank has been on its own for a while. The new rod goes in with Teflon tape on the threads, 6 or 7 wraps. Snug it down, close the drain, open the cold inlet, and let a hot tap upstairs run until the air burps out and the water runs steady. Then turn the power or gas back on. 20 minutes if the rod cooperates. 2 hours if it doesn't. Which rod you buy depends on your water. Magnesium protects better and is the default choice. Aluminum zinc lasts longer in very hard water, and it's the fix if your hot water smells like rotten eggs. That smell is bacteria reacting with a magnesium rod, and swapping to aluminum zinc usually kills it. That's a bonus repair most people pay a plumber to diagnose. While you've got the hose hooked up, drain the rest of the tank and flush it. Sediment settles on the bottom and forms a crust that insulates the burner from the water, which is why an old heater rumbles and pops when it fires. You're paying to heat rock. Flushing takes another 20 minutes and buys you efficiency you're currently throwing away. Here's the arithmetic. The rod costs $25 to $50. The socket, if you don't own one, is another $15. Call it $65 the first time and $30 every time after. A plumber charges $150 to $350 to do the same job. A water heater replacement in 2026 runs $1,200 to $2,500 installed, and that's if you schedule it. If it fails on its own, and it will fail on its own, that's how they go. You're paying emergency rates on top, plus whatever the water did to your floor on the way out. Check the rod every 3 years, every 2 if your water is hard. Replace it when it's chewed. A tank rated for 8 to 12 years will run 15 and keep going. Walter's verdict: 5 wrenches out of 5. $25 against $1,500. There's no version of that math that loses. It's the highest return 20 minutes in your entire house, and I've watched dozens of water heaters die from a part nobody knew was in there. The wrench I almost took off is the seized rod, because that's a genuine wall and some people are going to hit it. But even then, you've learned something worth knowing. If it won't budge, you've got a plumber-sized job on a schedule you choose instead of an emergency you don't. Go look at the top of your water heater tonight. If there's a plastic cap up there, pop it off. Whatever's under it has been quietly doing its job since the day that tank was installed, and nobody has checked on it since. Tell me what to pull apart next.